Drop the gun! Show me your hands!
Welcome to the weekly Homicide Report, the weekly program where we talk about all the people that needlessly died at the hands of another person. So let's take a look at this week's graph. Okay, now Chicago has reported 6 deletions. That's 4 weeks in a row under 10. Under 8, actually. I'm going to trust that these numbers are accurate and just say, good for you, Chicago. Your Safety Act is working just as you promised it would. Philadelphia had 4 deletions, their lowest number since week 1. New York added 6 to their total, 40% of which are listed as John Does. So either the site isn't updated properly or a lot of street people are dying. Houston reported 7 deletions and continues to keep pace with New York. Baltimore had 5 losses of life and sits at 69 on the year. 87% of the victims where race was listed were black, which makes sense kind of as the city is 62% black. Adding Dallas into the mix this week, they currently have 12 more deletions this year than they did at this time last year. So worthy of a follow. DC had 7 reported deletions, tying for the most this week on the list. They have 59 today, and last year at this time they had 45. That's 14 higher, or 31% worse. Nation's capital is not safe. Now just for some overall numbers, New Orleans and Indianapolis sit at 58, Las Vegas 48, Kansas City 45, they had 6 this week, Milwaukee 44, they had 7 this week, Columbus, Ohio 44, they had 5 this week, Birmingham, Alabama 33, they had 2 this week, Jackson, Mississippi is at 27, Portland, Oregon 19, Minneapolis 14, San Francisco 12, and Rochester, New York is at 10. There were 11 mass shootings. I covered a couple of them. We're averaging 1.5 per day, which is slightly better than last year's average. Memphis leads the pack with 6, Philly with 5, and Baltimore, Chicago, Dallas, New Orleans, and Shreveport have all recorded 4. 4 kids under the age of 11 and 25 between 12 and 17 were fatally shot. Both of these numbers are right with the weekly averages. There were 15 reported defensive use of a firearm incidents. I read how the CDC says there are over 500,000 of these a year, and one report showed that they've reported in the past 1 million a year, but apparently only 1,000 to 1,500 get reported as self-defense shootings because my sources don't come anywhere near that number. 2 police officers died in the line of duty. Officer Tim Unwin of Springfield Township, Ohio, died in an automobile crash while responding to an officer needs assistance call. He served 4 years. And Detective Sergeant Nicholas Pepper of Lafourche Parish in Louisiana died when his vehicle was intentionally rammed by a suspect during a vehicle pursuit. He had served in the state of Louisiana for 24.5 years and leaves behind a wife, 2 daughters, and a son. Well, that's all I have for you today, but I'll be back next week with the Week 15 numbers. Until then, have a great week, and I'll catch you next week.